Oh my goodness. And there it is. Wow, get the spin to go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the National Bowling Stadium here for the 2021 USBC Queens, the first major of the PWBA Tour season here in 2021. We're here for the practice session. B Squad is hitting the lanes. I'm Aaron Smith. This is Mike Flanagan. Jason Thomas, he's with us as well. And we are settling in. We have 8 lanes available, or 8 channels available right now with practice going on. And we're going to be bringing you some of that as well right here, not only on BowlTV.com, but to the folks watching on Facebook and YouTube. We welcome you to Bowl TV. Hopefully you take some time to head over to BowlTV.com. We have a giveaway coming up a little bit later in the block, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to let you settle in. It's dinner time. It's, you know, your belly's full. You're getting ready. And now you're going to watch some bowling, some practice here at the USBC Queens. So, Mike, I know the first question everyone is asking, and we talked about it a little bit earlier today, is about the oil pattern. So what can you tell us about the oil pattern here at the 2021 Queens?
Yeah, it's 42 feet in length, and we'll bring it up on the screen here in just a little bit. But we were predicting it'd be a little bit lower scoring here this week. But from what we saw in the first practice session, using fire oil, we think it might be a little bit higher scoring, but you'll be able to kind of look for yourself as the ladies practice out on the lanes. We'll do a deep dive into that lane pattern here in just a few minutes.
All right, with that, let's bring in JT first before we go full screen here. So Jason Thomas.
Hey,
he's always here. He's doing his thing. JT, what's up?
I'm just dancing to the music. Rescues me. Yeah, no, I'm watching some bowling. You guys got it. I'm looking forward to that deep dive. But yeah, it doesn't look like they're as crazy hard as we thought they might be coming in. So looks like 3 angles, as Nick Hoagland said, and you can kind of hit them from out, hit them from the track, hit them from in. I don't think the scores are going to be super high, but I also don't think they're going to be ridiculously low.
All right, with that, we're going to go full screen here, and this will give us an opportunity to bring up the oil pattern as well. So once again, there it is, right on the screen. We're looking at 42 feet this week, Mike.
Yeah, 42 feet in length. I like to always really dissect this lane graph for those of you at home that like to look at them as well, or maybe this is your first time really dissecting it. But the first thing we are looking at is 42 feet in length, and that's on the forward distance. 16.75 milliliters of oil being applied to the lane. On the way back, the reverse brush. The brush doesn't hit the lane until 35 feet on the way back. It's not dropping at 42. It's dropping at 35. 8.95 milliliters on the way back. 25.7 milliliters in total. There's 2 tanks on this and they've got fire oil in both tanks. Fire oil creates a little more ball reaction than, say, ice, which is what we used last week on the PWBA Tour when we were in Cleveland. On the way down, as I said, it starts out with 5 2-2 loads, and that goes to 10 feet. That's how the oil gets applied to the brush. It goes all the way down to 25.5 mil or 25.5 feet at the end, and then the brush continues to hit the lane until 42 feet. Then it drops off the lane, and then just the back end is just stripped with fresh back ends. And on the way back, the brush hits the lane at 35 feet and then begins oiling at 28 feet all the way back to the foul line. It actually oils to 8.5 feet and then busts back to the foul line. So the ratio 2 to 1, you hear 2 to 1, very, very flat. And that kind of is all about your oil pattern there. We expect medium to low scoring here at the National Bowling Stadium here in Reno, Nevada for this year's USBC Queens, guys.
Thank you for the breakdown, Mike. With that, we'll take the oil pattern off the screen. And you can see our competitors here. We're looking at lanes 53 through 56 at the moment. Obviously, you only see bowling going on one of those pairs. That's going to be kind of following the pace throughout the course of the week. If you watch the USBC Masters with us, it will follow suit with that. But kicking things off here, we have Amanda Vermilia, Alyssa Ferraro, a favorite in the Bowl TV community and chat. So Alyssa, she bowled really well at the Women's Championships as well prior to this. Heather D'Erico, and then Jordan Richard. So we're going to see a few different styles. And as JT mentioned, the 3 different zones to kind of attack this pattern. So with the different rev rates, the different styles here, we'll get a good first glance at how these competitors have kind of taken the information from seeing the graph themselves, kind of like Mike just broke down there, talking to the ball reps, potentially watching a little bit of the earlier practice session here on Bowl TV. Once again, the competitors from the other squad not allowed in the facility at that time. So it's only when you are bowling allowed here at the NBS. So now they're going to put it to use here in the next hour and change. So they'll spend 15 minutes here on this pair. They'll make the move to another section of the house here. Once again, 78 lanes at the NBS. And then after that, we'll be all set and done for the day and be looking forward to round 1 of qualifying starting tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. local time for the 2021 Queens.
Yeah, this is a USBC event. That's part of the PWBA schedule, and will accumulate points if we're part of the PWBA season. It's one of the majors of the year, and really big event here in Reno.
Speaking of points, Dasha Kovalova leading the way, the points race through 6 events so far this year. As a reminder, that does determine the PWBA Player and Rookie of the Year. And in talking to Dasha, we actually posted a story in between A Squad and B Squad practice, talking to Dasha in lieu of this event, looking forward to this event. And, she said that's something she really doesn't spend a lot, too much time thinking about. She's not sitting there focused on the stats, the numbers, and all that. She's just trying to continue to better her game each and every week. She said, I like this line. She says she's really never satisfied. So even though she's had a phenomenal start to the year, as we mentioned, leading in points, 3 TV shows and a win, always looking to find something to make her game better. And, looking back at her win at the Queens in 2019 really made a lasting impression on her in helping her essentially go from a player who was still trying to learn the ropes on tour to all of a sudden a fan favorite and a tour superstar almost within 5 or 6 events.
Yeah, definitely. And look, she's got her picture up on the masking unit. We've got her bowling right there. She's leading in points. It's Dasha week, man. You walk up the escalator. Well, you don't really walk up there. That's like Mike Flanagan typing with his pen.
Yep.
You ride up the escalator, right? You ride up the escalator. You get to the top of the steps. Who do you see? Staring you right in the face. Dasha Kovalova.
There's perks to the gig of taking home the win in the event.
Hey guys, I was watching that other pair we were on early on in our broadcast here, and I gotta believe B Squad practice is going to have a little bit more of a clue of what's going on in the lanes because of communication between the reps and the ladies from what they saw off the earlier practice session. I saw Jordan Richard using a controllable ball crossing around 11 out to about 7. Then I saw Amanda Vermilia right on top of where Jordan is with a little more aggressive ball. And they were both just splitting the 8-9. So to me, players with a little higher rev rate are going to be around the 11th board. And players that go a little bit straighter like Dasha there, looking like she's out around 9 or so. Just to kind of give you guys a little something to look at as we watch practice here. Fans at home, be looking for that range, and then look later on as the event goes on here or practice goes on, players jumping into different zones, seeing what other looks they may have. But right now it looks like to me, power player around 11 or 12-ish at the arrows, out to about 7-ish at the furthest. And then it's looking like a little bit straighter players, just tightening that up a little bit. Maybe like 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, out to about 7 or so.
Joining Dasha on the pair here, Brianna Clemmer, a standout for the 2021 rookie class. and Mallory Nutting as well, who was a past champion at the Women's Championships. It's just wrapped up its first couple of weeks earlier this morning and will continue after the Queens concludes on May 18th with our live Bowl TV stepladder final. The first major of the season. And if you were watching a little bit earlier today, we mentioned it. With it being a Bowl TV final, we will follow the tournament rules. We'll have a true double elimination format for the stepladder final. So the top seed, an added bonus, they will have to be defeated 2 times in a row in the championship match in order to not take home the 2021 title. So it's something to keep an eye out for as we go through the bracket. Obviously, 3 days of qualifying to kick things off. Get to the top 63 players, and Dasha, who has a guaranteed spot due to being the defending champion. That follows suit with the Masters, Senior Queen, Senior Masters as well. But once we start to see players navigate their way through the winner's bracket, that 1-2 match at the very end is going to be just the absolute utmost importance, knowing you have that extra game in your back pocket if needed.
Got someone asking about our newest champion on the PWBA Tour, Stephanie Zavala. She's on this squad. She's bowling down on lanes 25 and 26 here in this early part of the practice session. So we'll get to see her here in a bit when she moves. But really cool to see a new champion crowned last week, Aaron Smith. We didn't get to see it live, but she bowled pretty great.
She did. Looking at some of the numbers from, obviously she made the first cut, but the run she put together on Saturday was just downright ridiculous. It's the only way you can describe it. It was phenomenal. And then to come into the title match, facing a tour veteran in Brianna Cote, she had the early open and was able to bounce back, fill a couple frames, and then just go on a string of strikes to end it. And put herself in position to win. And, just needed a mark. She delivered a strike. And very awesome to see. She was a collegiate standout at Sam Houston. A past junior and Team USA member, and now a PWBA Tour champion.
And I've got to give you some credit. You kind of, I don't know if you said she was going to win, but 2 weeks before, she was one of your picks to look out for.
I said I wouldn't be surprised to see her make a stepladder finals appearance. So I didn't get all the way quite there, but I feel she does something very cool. She's when I was talking back and forth with Emil last week, because I was boasting my own ego. Saying, hey, I said that on air last week. I called it having a cool voodoo roll, which is something when I can't explain exactly what's happening, but I can see that it's a little bit different than what everyone else is doing out there. She's one of the players who has something cool like that, and that was one of the reasons why I thought she could, have some success out here on tour, and it only took a week for her to prove it.
Yeah, no, I remember we saw her at team trials a couple of years ago, and she made a nice run there on her way to making the team. And it was very impressive what she was able to do on a few of those days. And you kind of knew back then, if she comes out on the PWBA Tour and she finds something that she likes, she could very well win a title. And that's what we saw last week.
All right, we had the announcement here on site at the NBS. So players will move to a new pair across the house here. So essentially they have their 15 minutes and then they have a 5-minute break to make it to the next pair. Obviously for some of the folks, if you're on the high end, you got the long walk coming up to the low end. But I believe everybody will have that experience one way or the other. Once you start at the way low end, then you just get to continue to walk right forever. But we'll have that coming up here in just a moment. But since we have a quick break, let's go ahead and toss the schedule up there. So you good folks can see what's coming up next year on Bull TV over the course of the next, let's count them, 6 days. Queens action here. PWBA Major Championship on the line, all kicking off tomorrow. Thursday. Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. I don't know the days of the week anymore. But we have qualifying round 1 starting at noon with A squad, and then B squad comes up. Every squad is fresh, so it's not necessarily you're hitting a burn squad throughout here. You get to see maybe a little bit of that during the match play portion, but for the most part, you're going to be seeing the fresh throughout the course of the week. So that's going to be the thing. Obviously 5 games is going to go pretty quick for qualifying, and I'm sure some folks will be able to get some pins as they open up, but it'll be very key to see who has success on the fresh throughout the course of qualifying, and then to see if they can translate that into the 3-game total pinfall matches.
2 different tournaments, Aaron Smith. The qualifying is one part, and then the match play, and the match play is crazy. And you mentioned it, very important tournament in terms of the Player of the Year race. There's added points for the Queens and for the U.S. Women's Open, and so very important to not only make the cut here, but make as deep a run as possible if you want to stay in contention for that Player of the Year.
They're still continue to move around. Stats are updated on PWBA.com through the Cleveland stop. And, looking at the points, we mentioned Dasha leading the way. Brianna Cote after her runner-up finish and a win earlier this season at the ITRC Classic in 2nd place. Liz Johnson coming off a bit of a struggle in Cleveland. Missed the cut there, but still in 3rd overall. Julia Bond in 4th, and then Shannon O'Keefe in 5th, which is it's going to be an interesting note, I think, for a couple of players, is to see how they bounce back after not competing last week due to spending time with us at the Intercollegiate Team and Singles Championships in Wyoming, Michigan, just outside of Grand Rapids. The ITCs running at the same time as the Cleveland Open. So, for the players who are coaches on the collegiate level out there, that took priority for the week to see if their teams can make a run at the Helmer Cup. So, just a few players in general. We had Alicia Current, Shannon O'Keefe, Sydney Brummett out there as well, Brandy Branca. I'm trying to think who else was out there this past couple of days. Those 4 for sure. Probably forgetting another person or 2. But so some players coming back after a week off. To relate with that, we also have some players who competed at the ITC and ISC, including the ISC champion, Katie Robb from Delaware State. She's going to be in the field this week. She was on A squad. We talked a little bit about her. Hope Gramley, who was the D2, D3 Player of the Year for McKendree this year as a junior, is out here as well. So getting some great experience to look forward to her senior year. She put on a phenomenal 2021 campaign throughout the course of the NCAA events that McKendree competed at, and excited to see. I feel this might be her first. I don't know if she's bowled Queens in the past, but excited to see Hope and Katie as well, now that we've kind of gotten to know her a little bit, to see how they handle the next level.
Yeah, I did. I ran into her and Taylor Bailey last night, and they say that birds of a feather flock together, and Shannon O'Keefe and that whole group of kids from McKendree, Brianna Clemmer, they're bowling well right now, and obviously they have Shannon as their past coach, who's basically taught them everything she knows, and they've been able to witness her success firsthand. And so it's really kind of cool to see them all come out and bowl together and do well. Hope Gramley, incredibly impressive player from McKendree. She had a good week last week at ITCs, but it's going to be really fun to watch her bowl a singles tournament.
Speaking of collegiate athletes and coaches, let's head over to 47 and 48, because we actually have Josie Barnes and Maria Bolanova, who worked very closely in worked very closely. There we go. In bringing the Commodores the NCAA title in 2018. Josie is the associate head coach, and Maria as the standout player. So Maria, rookie this year on tour. Josie, her first couple of events back on tour after not competing at the Kickoff Classic Series.
Yeah, Maria's shown a lot of talent out here on tour. She's had, some good blocks. She's made some cuts. She's gotten a few checks, but she hasn't been able to put together a full week of great bowling. But obviously, she's got incredible talent, and getting across with Josie this week, I think, will be very helpful for her.
Also on this pair, we have Raylan Hazen and then Sharon Bowers competing this week. So Sharon actually, after the conclusion of this event, is going to be pretty excited to join her teammates in defending her Diamond Team title at the Women's Championships. They won in 2019 in Wichita. So Sharon getting the opportunity to bowl the Queens here as well. Again, nice long trip out of it to competing. A lot of the players did that, competed at the Women's Championships in the past couple of days, and a couple will be sticking around after as well. But for Maria, she was a player from the very early going, a freshman in 2017 that you could just see had the potential to make some noise out here on the PWBA tour once her time was done with Vanderbilt. And I think there's definitely still a learning curve in the first few events, and we had her join us for one of the collegiate broadcasts as well on Bowl TV a little bit earlier during the regular season. And kind of talked about some of those things, some of those learning curves. But having a coach who competes regularly out on tour, is a champion on tour, Josie Barnes, is definitely helped the learning process for Maria in these first couple tournaments. And another player who I definitely would not be surprised to see in a stepladder final at some point later in the season, if not this week.
No, definitely not. I mean, she's got that same talent that we see in Stephanie Zavala. She once she gets on something she likes and she's comfortable, she has the firepower to be able to win on the PWBA tour.
Brad Littlejohn, that is a great note. Maria, I believe, finished third in the World Cup at 15 years old. I want to say 2014, third or fourth. I can't sit by and wait anymore. I've got to double check this. Thanks, Brad.
Someone asking about Linda Barnes in the chat. Linda was actually in the chat during our earlier practice session, so she's hanging around and lending her voice in the chat. She's a former Queens champion. She hasn't been competing very much on the PWBA tour the last couple of years. But she's still there.
There's fourth place finish at the World Cup in 2014.
Had 6 different champions and 6 events this year on the PWBA tour. Will we see our first repeat champion of the year here at the Queens? What do you think, Aaron Smith?
Well, our previous 6 champions, all very solid players, and it would be wrong for me to dismiss any of them for making these stepladder finals here, based off of their performances, not only over the course of the season, but over the course of their career. But let's see, who do we got in the winner's circle so far? We got Shannon, we got Rihanna, we got Julia Bond, Dasha Kovalova, the defending champion, Liz Johnson, that little 300 in the semifinals.
Yeah.
And we got from last week, Stephanie Zavala. I'm going to say we have our 7th champion, though.
Okay.
7th champion of the season. So,
right.
Not that several of those players won't make the show, but I feel with the uniqueness, and Mike kind of mentioned it as well during the earlier block with everything going on with having the extra spot at the top, the true double elimination format that, and we've seen this historically with the Queens, is that we've seen quite a few different players kind of make their initial run, kind of make their big debut. Think back to Aaron McCarthy in 2015, leading the way. Dasha in 2019 doing the same. A player kind of surprising. I shouldn't say surprising, but kind of making that first big leap here at a major. Switch pairs here for a quick second. We have Clara Guerrero, past major winner on the PWBA Tour. Stephanie Cooksey from right here in Reno, and then Addie Nelson, who another player competing this past week at the ITC, member of St. Ambrose University. I think that's a big what if. Looking back at our last trip here for Queens, which was not that long ago, 2018, Shannon O'Keefe taking home the title. We see Stephanie from the left side. It's a good look to see. Look from the left, but I think Clara was poised for a run at the show, and she made the show in 2019. Ended up having some troubles with her back after rolling the tournament's only 300 game. Won a couple matches, and then she still fought through, but you could clearly see that the injury was affecting her in those final few matches, and ball speed became an issue, but still fought through. But what could have been for Clara here at the NBS in 2018?
Yeah, she was in the winner's bracket going into the last day when that happened, and I was amazed, that she bowled a couple of 600 series with, hardly being able to walk, and gave herself a chance. But yeah, that was an unfortunate injury. Got a number of Queens champions in the field here this week. We mentioned Dasha Kovalova and Shannon O'Keefe. Diana Zavialova, two-time Queens champion here this week. Liz Johnson has 2 Queens titles to her name. Maria Jose Rodriguez, who you mentioned, always seems to bowl well at the Queens. Deandra Asbady, Missy Parkin, Kelly Kulik, 2-time champion. Shannon Plahowski, Carolyn Doran Ballard, 2001 champion. I think she won every tournament that year, didn't she? Leanne Holsenberg is here.
99 Queens champion,
99 champion, correct, yeah.
Again, for the folks joining us here on Facebook and YouTube, we certainly appreciate you joining us here. And as a friendly reminder, heads up, once we head into competition tomorrow, once again, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. local time, the start time for qualifying round number 1, A squad bowlers. We will be be offering the broadcast as a subscription service here on Bowl TV. So a few different options to pick up moving forward. Of course, that also covers not only qualifying, but we have all of match play and the stepladder finals as well. So you can pick up an event pass, an event ticket, excuse me, starting at $12.95. So that will cover all the live coverage throughout the course of the week. You can check out a monthly recurring subscription, which unlocks the entire site, the entire access to bowltv.com, the archived events, the on-demand content, and more, along with the live coverage. That's $9.95 for the recurring subscription, and then an annual if you're looking to support the PWBA Tour and the rest of the schedule throughout the course of the year. Once again, this is only event 7. We have 13 more to go before it's all said and done. $79.95 for the annual recurring subscription. Same with the monthly. It unlocks the entire site for you. All those do include transaction fees as well, so as a heads up. And if for those of you interested in our giveaway a little bit later today, the only way to take that home is by logging on to Bowl TV. Right now, to watch on bowltv.com, you just need to create a login if you haven't done so already. Takes just a minute to do. You can check out the chat, the Bowl TV community. Got a few familiar faces. Chatting right now. Got Selwyn, Michelle, Chris. Brad's in there making me do extra work. Appreciate it, Brad. Got Stephanie, Tony, Larry. Got Barb joining as well. So big thanks to everybody for partying with us here.
Athletes, you have 2 minutes remaining of the bowl, 15 minutes left. Excuse me, 2 minutes remaining.
Danielle McEwen had a nice week last week. Watching her here. Had an amazing run her last 4 games. The second block of qualifying, shot 11:09 for 4 without a 300 game. Averaged just under 260 for the block with a 180 game. It's pretty hard to do, Aaron Smith.
That is. That was one of those oh my moments when you see it. There's a humongous jump in the standings as well for her from 39th to 4th. It wasn't a low-scoring event, you know. When you go on a nice run, when you have a kind of a lower scoring pace, all of a sudden, you know, that's one thing. But you know, it took almost a 230 average to make the top 12 last week. So to make up those kind of spots, you have to have one of those crazy days, and that's exactly what Danielle did to put her in position to eventually make the show.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Her season's been such an odd season, and everybody, you know, worrying what's wrong with Danielle McEwen, and you know, we're 6 events in. She's made 2 shows. You know, more than almost everybody. Shannon O'Keefe's only made 1 show. And she's 11th in points. So, I mean, she's just been so good the last few years. She has a little bit of a hiccup there, and everybody's freaking out. But looks like she's back. It looks like she's not wearing the tennis shoe anymore on her right foot. Looks like the injury is behind her. And she came out with a vengeance last weekend to put those talks to rest.
Yeah, it definitely has been an up and down run for Danielle. Has missed a couple cuts, but has also, as you mentioned, made a few shows along the way as well. So back in the booth with us once again. Feeling the flow, feeling the energy. Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I've been out with my trusty camera, and I've been filming a lot of bowling. And I've been talking to players, and I've been talking to ball reps. And I got a couple observations to field report back to the entire audience as well as you guys right here. So, first thing is Jordan Richard has an incredible look. And I talked about it at the top of the show, but she's thrown like 3 different bowling balls. And she can cross anywhere between 11 and 9. And as long as she gets the ball to like 6, 7, 8, depending on how steep she is, striking with every ball. She just can't cut it short or get slow with it. So I like her to have a good week. I also saw like Brandy Bronca, straighter player. She's more on top of it, but still has to give it a little bit of room. Higher friction bowling balls, lower surfaces like 1,000. ASIM balls. Then I saw Danielle McEwen leave a 710 with, I believe it was an idle bowling ball. And then she switched to a phase 2, double, just 10 back. Playing around that same Jordan Richard area, but maybe like a 1-1 right. But the break point still keeping it about the same, 1 or 2 boards right. See some great amateur players out there also, or collegiate players coming out to give this a try. That are a little lower rev rates, that are playing pretty much right on top of it as well. Jordan Richard told me that she wanted to try to play way out, like around 5, and see what was there, but her ball rep told her immediately, get in. You can bounce it off of 5 if you have to. So, but that's kind of what I'm seeing, is just kind of pretty much right in that what you would call a track shot or a tube shot, a lot of people like to say. But I don't really see anybody left of about 11 at the arrows. Everybody's trying to keep it right, and there's plenty of oil on the lane, even with being fire or oil. But that's kind of what I've been seeing. I've been on the right side of the building. I'm going to go check out the left side of the building from here. But that's what I had to report from the field and what I've seen in my camera here. So,
well, Mike, I think the Brandy Branca observation, important to note. Last time the Queens was here, she hit a deep run in the bracket and just missed out. I believe she missed out on the 4-player match where 3 advanced. So finishing that 7th, 8th spot in 2018. So Brandy, a player, we talked about her a little bit, was busy at the ITCs last week coaching Maryville in their first ITC appearance. So back out on the lanes for her. So she got a long week of watching bowling. Now she's ready to throw some strikes out there. But we're just about ready for this next block. So, Mike, the low end is all yours, and we'll go back to the lanes here.
Yeah, thanks. One other note on Brandy Bronca. She bowled a couple of amateur events during COVID that I happened to be at, and she wrecked them. She was really good in August and September. I haven't seen her bowl since then, but if she's any good or anywhere near where she was at that point in time, and with the successes she's had in this event, if we had odds on this, I would have Brandy Bronca's odds. Not as good of a payday if I was the house, because I think she's much more of a favorite than many people might think that she would be. So, all right, guys, I'll be back a little bit later to give you a report on the low end.
All right, Mike Flanagan joining us here once again. Great reporting, as always, Mike with Inside Bowling. And I know that was a big talk during the Masters U.S. Open here at the stadium, is just how you kind of had to be on your toes depending on what part of the house you were in. And I don't believe we're going quite as far to the low end of the house as we did for Masters, but still plenty of the house in play here.
Yeah, and the low end tends to be higher scoring as well, Aaron, as you know. And so the fact that, many of those pairs on the low end will be cut off, it could limit the number of pairs that the players have to score on. So we'll have to see what happens.
Athletes, you may now begin your next 15 minutes of practice.
All right, session number 3, B squad. Uh-oh. Oh. That was not on her. The things we can see off screen, I just saw someone's thumb insert just flew about 30 feet down the lane.
Oh yeah, it's on lane 63.
It's in the gutter right now. Yeah,
I think it's still on the lane. Let's go.
or is that
over
still
there.
on the lane? 63?
Yeah.
You got the JT's
It's exciting.
Up.
It's
We'll
some
have to call in
excitement
our-
here.
Take a look at Liz Culkin here before we make that switch over. Liz had herself a pretty nice women's championship run here at the NBS prior to the Queens here. Currently leading in the Diamond Team Division. Her teammates, and took over the all events lead for a couple hours before it was bested. She's still sitting in the top 5 in all events though.
Oh, there we go. And the insert is now off the lane. The flowers are still standing.
Always wanted to do that.
I always wanted to do that.
That was a Brandon Cruz line at the ITC.
That's right. Yeah.
For the IBC Youth Development Team. There's our Women's Championships very own Dan. Works the lanes out here.
He's doing the announcements today.
Doing the announcements as well. Pulling
MC.
double duty.
Yes. Now he's picking up thumb inserts. How quickly you move down the totem pole once the Queen starts, Aaron Smith. Dan's great. He's during these events, we saw him at the Masters and the US Open, and he was charging me tolls every time I would walk by him to change the lane graphics.
That's we'll have to develop a pass system for that to save on the change and pass back and forth there. Let's see. So we had a few folks asking about Stephanie Zavala. There she is. We found her. She's bowling with Jessica Abel and Sofia Granda from Guatemala. Sofia making some news with Maria Jose Rodriguez yesterday as they set the record at the Women's Championships for a double score, 1560. Sophia had 750, Maria 810.
Wow.
Maria had one of the craziest runs of, and I wish I had the sheet with me right now, but I think she shot 245 in game 1 of that double set. And then she started the next game with the front 8. Shot 279. The next game she started with the front 10. Shot 286 for the 810. Hopefully the math works out right. If not, that's why I write.
Sounds right.
And then game 1 of singles, she had the front 8 again. And then had the front 6 in game 2 of singles.
Wow.
And it was crazy because every time I looked up, and it was going pretty hectic, pretty fast paced with a lot of scores, a lot of very talented players out on the lanes. And every time I looked up, I'm like, she's got the front six again. She's got the front seven. It
What
did
do you
slow
think
down a
about
little.
her season, Aaron? It's been a very odd season. She's top 10 in points. She's actually ninth, but she hasn't made a show yet. So she's been consistent. Made a lot of top 12s, bowled great all season really, but hasn't broken through to make a show. Or she's had 4 top 12 appearances for match play, and she's cashed every week, but no TV shows.
I think not worried about that. I think that they're on their way. It's going to happen. I think Maria continues to put herself in position to, make a run. And you look at 4 match play and top 12 appearances so far. Only one player has more than that this whole season. That's Shannon O'Keefe. She's cashed in every event. And I feel Maria's top 5 in the world right now here on the women's side, and I think it's just a matter of a week or two going her way and catching some hits instead of being on the receiving end of them, if you will, from other players finding their way to sneak in. But it seems like she's always in the mix, and that's the first step. She had a great year in 2019, I believe, made 4 shows. The next step is kind of turning those shows into wins. She has 2 out here. She won the Queens in 2014 and then the Tour Championship in 2018. I'm waiting. She's another player I feel who, once she gets another one under her belt, it's going to be like 3 within like 7 events or something crazy like that. I feel she can go on that type of run out here on tour.
What do you think of Shannon O'Keefe's season so far? It's been kind of interesting.
Started off great, got the win at the Bowlers Journal Classic, and she did what she needed to do for the rest of the event. I know by the end of the Hall of Fame Classic wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
So I know that was a thing, and even coming into Twin Cities, and we talked to her prior to Twin Cities. With the collegiate schedule, she really didn't, she hadn't put in the time that she would like to put on the lanes as she has previously, getting ready for the tour season. Usually she has some time between the end of collegiate heading into the PWBA. That was a little different this year. So, a little hectic, a little crazy along the way, but, she's found ways to continue to make top 12s. And I mean, that's in the steps of making it to the step ladder, even though she's only got the 1 so far. She's put herself in, some type of position to make a run. And then last week, obviously not competing because she was trying to lead McKendree to a national title. So, it's one of those things where I'm not too concerned about her season just yet. So I think it's going to be just a matter of time for her to get back to, kind of that run where all of a sudden she's on every show again. So I think we're still definitely in
the Shannon O'Keefe era.
In the Shannon O'Keefe era. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Thank you. So I think it's going to be, especially now that the tour is going to kind of, the collegiate season's done, she's still going to have her responsibilities. There's still recruiting coming up and all that. But I think as she kind of just gets more games underneath her belt, it's going to be the Shannon O'Keefe of 2019, just like that.
Yeah, I agree. And she loves bowling here in this building. She won last time we were here, the Queens, and she's been very close, but she's just a little bit maybe rusty. And she didn't really have, I think, her favorite ball reaction, the last few weeks, and yet she missed the show by a few pins, and then, had a nice run a couple weeks ago as well. And I think she's getting a little sharper and a little sharper every week. and now she's coming into a big tournament, and I think she's probably pretty hungry this week.
Be curious to see how many games she got in prior to having to travel out here to Reno, because it was a pretty quick turnaround from the end of the ITCs, because both teams made long runs in the event, and they even had a player on the singles side make it to the TV show, Izzy Allen, for the women's ISC singles. So Shannon did not bowl the women's championships prior to the start of the Queen. So curious, there's a few great facilities here in Reno as well. I know a few of the players, I believe, had mentioned spending some time out there to get ready for the event. High Sierra Lanes, just down Virginia Street. Big shout out to Rudy and family. Rudy Moreno, good folks. Great proprietor. Great facility here in Reno. But getting back to Shannon, you mentioned, the run in, I think, Twin Cities is where she just missed the show.
Yeah.
By like 5-6 pins. And I think in some of the talks, you guys had mentioned that she felt she was maybe, at 75%, 80% of where she wanted to be, and just missed the show.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, definitely. And like you said, she's made every cut, every match play or top 12. So she's been pretty darn good. But we're used to seeing her win every week.
She has set the bar very high.
It does certainly seem like the players are able to hit the pocket pretty easily.
Athletes, 2 minutes remaining of your practice, 2 minutes remaining of this practice.
All right, 2 minutes left in this practice session, or this particular practice session. I believe we have one more to go after this, JT.
That's right. Then real bowling starts tomorrow.
Again, 2 squads of qualifying each day. Noon Eastern for the first squad, and then 6 p.m. Eastern for second squad. We'll go A squad, B squad day 1, B squad, A squad day 2, and then back to A squad, B squad day 3. Everything's on fresh, so you guys don't have to worry about that. No need to send the letters in. Everything's fresh.
And even more fresh than normal because of the skipping procedures. So normally if every pair was in play, you'd bowl 5 games on them. Whereas this, they're only going to get 2 or 3 games depending on which pair they start on. So it magnifies the freshness of the fresh. Then once the matches start, just throw it all out the window.
Throw it all out. Fresh start. Anything can happen. I wish we could keep a running meter on Bowl TV here. So how many times we mentioned that it's 2 tournaments in one. It's a brand new event.
Yeah, no.
Because that's what it is. It's 2 events in one.
And it's really every match is its own struggle. You can bowl one player, and the way that player likes to break them down maybe suits you well, and you bowl 750, and then the next player maybe plays left of you, and you struggle to shoot 550. So it's just every single match you make it through is its own unique struggle.
But as fans, it's so fun to watch.
It is. It's awesome. It kind of goes back to what we saw Liz Johnson do in the stepladder a couple of weeks ago. She didn't have that look all week, and then you give her 20 minutes to kind of set the pair up for herself, and I mean she had a lot of room to miss on that pair. She just bombed them.
Yeah, that was and especially after the scoring pace slowed down to a crawl in the round of 12. Yeah, that was something else. I think averaged 263 for her 3 wins.
Yeah, and
still 780 out there.
Yeah, and it also has the players in the stepladder probably have the mentality of, hey, I'm probably not going to have to shoot very much. The scores have kind of been going down all day, and then all of a sudden you get in there with Liz and you got to shoot 260 to have a chance.
She said, nah. I got a little something out here.
Hey guys, by the way, Mike's back here. Where did Nick say the 3 zones were? Did he say specifically?
He did. 5-6 was one of them. The track and the cliff is 15 and in.
I don't see it ever getting to 15. I just don't. I don't know how with the traffic we're going to have. I don't see how anybody gets to 15.
Why do you say that?
I just don't see it. I see it holding up long enough. I just see the higher rev rate players just being right on top of 11 and 12, and I just don't think you're going to have to get it left of there. Just from the bowling balls that they're using strong balls. I don't see it ever getting in there, and if it does, it's going to shock me. And I think you got to be too precise playing 5-6.
So you're saying the track is where they need to be. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I watched Kelly Kulik bowl a little bit, and she was kind of playing all over the place, and certainly when she was left to 15, it didn't look great. But I didn't watch her that long, so I watched her maybe throw 5 or 6 shots in there, and didn't look like she had all that much. But that doesn't mean I think she's not going to bowl well this week, because you're really in practice. You're just trying to see what the different parts of the lane give you, and my guess is she'll probably start right around where you're saying 11-12.
I think the biggest mistake that can be made this week, and if any players are watching this, in my opinion, one man's opinion, is your feet are too far to the right and your eyes are too far to the left. That combination is a problem here on this pattern. You'll make it really look 2-1 or 1-1 if your feet are too far right and your eyes are too far left. Okay, that's my cue.
Okay, awesome.
It's been great.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing to disagree with there, really.
You're just letting that stew for a second there.
Just letting the audience think about it. A little Fleetwood Mac going. Katie Robb, our intercollegiate singles champion, had a Fleetwood Mac line tattooed on her arm. Talked about it on the show. That was pretty cool.
How about that?
All right, athletes, you may now begin your final 15 minutes.
All right, final set of practice here.
I'm disappointed Tennille didn't say we were on the edge of 17 minutes. The warning came up. That would have been an excellent tie-in.
Yeah. I was very tempted to drop the peaceful, easy feeling reference when we had the Eagles playing a little while ago. And we had Dasha Kovalova on camera. I was going to say she has a peaceful, easy feeling because she's got her picture up on the masking panel, and she's the defending champion. She's leading the tour in points.
I had asked her about that, as far as kind of how she felt about, having she's the only player guaranteed the spot in the top 64 based off of being the defending champion. And, that was one thing, we saw it kind of play out at the Masters this year where, with as difficult as it was, basically Jacob was the only player who really got the chance to actually try stuff because everyone was just so scared of falling out of the number because it was just crazy tough out there. And, in asking her about that, she said, it's nice. I know in the back of my mind that's there, but she says, if I let up too much because of that, if I think like, oh, okay, she doesn't stick to her process and kind of treat it like, okay, I don't have this buffer to work with that she's already in. She's like, I can get sloppy. I can get, maybe a little lazy with my spare shooting, with my shot making. And then all of a sudden I'm behind the 8 ball because everyone else has been keeping up with the moves, keeping up with the transition. And I want to know what my next moves are. What's the next ball in the bag when it's time to, when I see this, then I have to do this. So she's going to be trying to qualify first here. So in case anyone was wondering, she is in the.
Yeah, I remember when Jason Belmonte won for the first time, and he came back, the next year, and he was the defending champion, and everybody was kind of wondering about that for him as well. And he came out and led qualifying, and that was bad news for the rest of the field. So basically, came out and said, "Hey, I'm still the guy to beat," and then he won again, and then he won again,
and again.
Yes. Queens is a very hard tournament to win. There's quite a few players that have won it twice, but only one player's won it more than twice. Aaron Smith, right?
Good question. I was unprepared for this trivia moment.
Yeah.
Wendy McPherson has won it 3 times. I feel confident in saying that.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. So there's 2 players that have won it more than twice.
And I think we have to go back a couple years after that.
Yeah.
Right. I believe it's Millie.
It is Millie. And she may have won it many more times if her career hadn't been ended so early. But just shows you how hard of a tournament it is to win. We've got a number of players here bowling this week that have 2 wins in the Queens. Liz Johnson, Kelly Kulik, Diana Z.
But you know what everybody on Bowl TV could have? Because they're watching on BowlTV.com right now, JT?
A Bowl TV t-shirt?
Bowl TV t-shirt, because that's going to be the giveaway coming up next.
Yes!
So, folks, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, this is going to be your last call, your final warning. The red flashing lights are going off. Got to get over to BowlTV.com. It's about that time. You are watching on BowlTV.com, as we are right now. You'll see it pop up on the screen in the bottom left-hand corner. The giveaway will begin shortly. You'll have 60 seconds. Then another prompt will pop up, say the giveaway has begun. You'll see a submit entry button. All you have to do is click that, and you'll be entered to win. So folks, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, this is going to be your last call, your final warning. All right, since we're here watching Angie Ramirez-Perea, Abby Ragsdale, and Brianna Cote, we will let's see. Not after this shot by Angie, but the next shot for her. We'll go ahead and start the giveaway. So once again, if you're in full screen mode, you want to take it out for a quick second so you can see the chat and everything. As we talk about that, just a reminder, above the chat, in the tabs above it, the middle one there is going to be the page we're using to collect most of our information throughout the course of the week. We'll have scores, rosters, pairings, live scoring, results, standings, all the good stuff, oil pattern. Will all be available at your fingertips like it is for us here. So you have access to all the same information that we do throughout the course of the week, folks. So please feel free to use that. And after Angie's shot here, we'll go ahead and get the giveaway underway.
Wow, that was a crazy messenger.
It really was, wasn't it?
It was fast, but it didn't knock any pins over, but it sure moved across the deck pretty quick.
So good luck, everybody. Once again, just wait for that submit entry button on the screen. And you'll have a chance to win right here on BullTV.com. Bull TV t-shirt up for grabs. One lucky Bull TV viewer. Nick Hoagland chiming in on the Bull TV chat saying he's liking Angie's reaction here on the left side. So she had a nice showing at the 2019 Queens. Thinking about it now, I know we had to stop her at least once or twice for interviews throughout the course of the week during qualifying. So for Brianna Cote, she was the top seed in 2018 at this event, falling to Shannon O'Keefe in the title match. For Brie, a great bounce back last week. She had missed the cut in Lincoln the week before that and said it was unacceptable. Her performance was how she characterized it, and then quickly forgot about it, said on to business, on to the next one. All of a sudden, just like that, in the title match, finishing runner-up to Stephanie Zavala.
Yeah, it was interesting. I had was speaking with Sydney Brummett, her roommate, at the ITCs last week, and she said, Bree had been throwing it well. And I said, yeah, I noticed that. Even though in Lincoln she was not happy with the performance and missed the cut, I saw her throw a few shots, and I just thought she looked really aggressive and looked like she was throwing it really well. And then, obviously we all know what happened last week. So, yeah, that's an important part of bowling on this tour. You really can't let one bad week derail your confidence. You have to come back and understand how good you are, and then, you never know what you're going to see that next week. It might be something that your eye just likes to see, and if you don't let it affect your confidence and just move on, you never know. You could win. Mike Albee was a master of that. Master of the miss a check and then come back and win the next week. He just never let it bother him.
Just a reminder, folks, just a couple minutes left here before we pack up for the day. Once again, tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. local time here in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. My personal favorite city in the United States.
That's true, too. He's not just saying that. He likes Reno as much as he hates Bruce Springsteen.
Wow. Unreal energy right there. But it's I have no rebuttal to that comment, though. So.
Yeah, it's true. It's a true fact. I find it interesting that Nick Hoagland, picked up on the fact that he thought Angie Ramirez had a good ball reaction.
Well, since we do have Nick here, we talked about the different zones. Curious if he feels it worked that way on the left side as well.
I think you have 2 minutes remaining of your practice session. 2 minutes remaining of your practice.
All right, to get a response from Nick. Thanks, Nick. The lefties naturally want to play the out zone, generally speaking. So if it is playing, they will most likely play there. Noting that at the U.S. Open Masters, we did see some lefties make some nice runs playing from out.
And, Angie's the type of player that she can shoot a lot of big scores when she gets lined up. We saw it at the Kickoff Classic. She had some really nice runs there. And, she gets into the match play and has a good ball reaction. She is one dangerous player. Yeah, I'm curious what Nick thinks about Mr. Flanagan's suggestion about, the deep inside line not being able to play at all. I don't know and I know Nick watches these practice sessions very closely. to see if what his expectation ends up playing out. But was just curious to see if anybody from way in what he was watching was able to have a decent ball reaction.
Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Roll call on the lanes at 2:30. You may enter 1 hour prior to your squad. Player services and the workout area is located behind the black curtain. Behind lanes 1 and 2, go through the hallway, and that is where the workout area is. Your locker room is on the concourse. You may keep as many bowling balls and bags as you'd like in your square. Again, stack them up, but you can only use one square to fit all of your equipment. And thank you for joining
Yeah,
us
Nick
today.
replied to me in the Bull TV chat, said, yeah, I think if the right player with the right tilt plays there, 15 at the arrows is doable. But inside is not for everyone.
All right. We have concluded. Practice has come to a close. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and folks are going to have to see us for a quick second here as we get back into the Bull TV studios. I'm Aaron Smith along with Mike Flanagan sitting right here, Jason Thomas.
I got the matching jacket on this squad, guys. You happy?
And now we're rocking it. We're rocking it hard here. But we have concluded our practice sessions. We are done here on Bull TV for the day. We are looking ahead to qualifying, kicking off. We're bowling for score tomorrow, starting at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. local time. So 9 a.m. local time here in Reno.
Oh, I thought I could sleep in tomorrow.
Not quite yet.
Darn.
We're going to have some pretty quick moving days here. But as those days quickly move by, it's going to be obviously a lot for us to process, kind of get the scope, get the feel of A, who's going to put together some big numbers here on this 42-foot pattern. And then B, as we get closer into that day 3, see what the cut number is going to be. See who's going to go into the second tournament, if you will, the double elimination match play bracket. Mike, some final thoughts based off of your jaunts around the center.
Do you realize what you just did there?
No clue.
A, B, and then you're going to C. This guy, you've been taking some broadcast lessons recently?
No. I figured that showed already.
I mean, I want to come in and do a good job this week, but man, I can't with that kind of analysis. So you asked me what my thoughts were. I'm telling you guys, at least, I mean, how long did they play bowl? An hour roughly. We think it's going to take them 2 hours to bowl a squad, I think is what we're thinking. So it's going to get double the wear, but you have double the pairs. See what I did? Double the wear, double the pairs. I just don't see it. I don't see it getting in that deep. And I do think a few players that throw them straight are gonna be handcuffed, and they're gonna miss left and go high and miss right and go light, and eventually they're gonna move in a little bit and soften up, and then they'll have a look. But remember, you only got to make it into the top 64 bracket. You don't have to lead this thing. You just got to make it in. So that's what's important about this event. So.
All right. That's true. 100%. 2 events in one. Double your pleasure. Double your fun. With the Queens. There you go. JT, final thoughts.
So is this a gum commercial or a podcast?
Yeah. We're all over the place. We've got a little bit of everything going on here. It seemed like a natural transition at the time. I wanted to stick with double. Yeah, that was the only double I could think of. So here we are. This is.
And what's 3 in a row? I call that a triple.
Oh no, not this again.
Bringing it home strong as always, folks.
Well,
JT,
yeah, I agree with Mike for once. You only have to beat less than half the field, and this is a terrible cut to miss. You do not want to miss this cut. There's huge points available. Once you get into that top 64, you're starting from 0 again. So you don't want to miss this cut. The only way you can do it is by doing something foolish and shooting yourself out of the tournament. 200 is a great score. If you can average 200, you're probably going to be in to that top 64. So really, it's going to be interesting to see how the different angles play. Like, are we going to see anybody hit them from in. Nick Hoagland seems to think so from about 15. Mike Flanagan doesn't think so. I certainly don't like that look if we get into a match play situation. I think you're going to see players playing out and having a better look. But we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next couple of days. They certainly weren't as hard as I expected them to be. The players, whether they're playing in or out, seemed like they could hit the pocket. They didn't look all that easy, but I don't expect the scores to be super low. Someone's going to hit them pretty well. But once that match play starts, it's not going to matter. You got to win those matches, and that's where the fun's going to begin.
All right, folks. So with that, we're going to conclude our broadcast. So a big thank you to joining us here on Bowl TV. And if you want to see the great Nick and Mike Flanagan debate continue, you got to purchase a subscription if you haven't done so already. A few different options. Check it out on bowltv.com. But before we sign off, just a big thank you to the United States Bowling Congress, the USBC Board of Directors, Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider. I got to read off the sheet the first time. By the end of the week, I'll have this all down. Our USBC Gold partners, 900 Global, Rotogrip, and Storm, the Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the Row, of course, our presenting sponsors as well at the USBC Women's Championships. Our participants this week at the Queens, 110 great athletes getting ready to hit the lanes and bowl for the coveted tiara awarded to the winner and a major title on the PWBA tour. And of course, you, our Bowl TV fans and community, y'all are the best. We love the opportunity to do this week in and week out on the tour, and looking forward to enjoy the next 6 days with you till we get to our stepladder finals right here on bowltv.com. So for Jason Thomas, Mike Flanagan, I'm Aaron Smith. We will see you tomorrow, folks, noon Eastern. A Squad hits the lanes for their first round. And remember, on Bowl TV, bowling lives here. Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you soon.